May 23, 1618. 8:30 in the morning at Prague Castle. Count Jaroslav Martinic and Count Vilém Slavata, Catholic representatives of the Holy Roman Emperor, arrive at the Bohemian Chancellery expecting routine administrative business. Instead, they walk into an ambush. Over 100 Protestant nobles fill the room, faces twisted with rage. The crowd surges forward. Heinrich Matthias Thurn, leader of the Protestant faction, seizes Martinic by the collar. Others grab Slavata. The two Catholic officials are dragged toward the window. They scream, begging for mercy. The Protestants aren't listening. One shouts, "Were we to keep these men alive, then we would lose our religion." They hurl Martinic through the window. He falls 70 feet toward the courtyard below. Then Slavata goes next, his secretary Philip Fabricius following moments later. 3 men plummeting from Prague Castle's 3rd-floor window in an act so bizarre, it will give English a new word: defenestration. The 3 men survive, landing in refuse heaps softened by recent rain. Catholics claim angels saved them. Protestants say it was dung. Either way, Europe just lit the fuse on its most devastating religious war. The roots stretch back to 1609. Holy Roman Emperor Rudolf II issued the Letter of Majesty granting Bohemian Protestants religious freedom, the right to build churches, worship openly, control their own affairs. For 9 years, Protestants and Catholics coexist uneasily. Then Rudolf's brother Matthias becomes emperor. He appoints his nephew Ferdinand as King of Bohemia, a fanatical Catholic devoted to Counter-Reformation ideals. Ferdinand despises Protestant heresy. He believes Catholicism must be restored as Europe's sole religion. In 1617, he orders Protestant churches in Hrob and Brumov, built on Catholic Church land, torn down. The structures are physically demolished. Local Protestants are enraged. The Letter of Majesty guaranteed their rights. Ferdinand is violating sacred agreements. They convene an assembly in Prague on March 5, 1618, demanding redress. Ferdinand responds by dissolving the assembly and forbidding future Protestant gatherings. That's when patience runs out. May 21st, 1618. Protestant nobles defy the ban and meet again. May 22nd, they demand negotiations. The Catholic regions, Martinic and Slavata, refuse and order the assembly dispersed. The Protestant radicals led by Thurn, Baron Colonna von Fels, and Wenceslaus Ruppa aren't asking anymore. On May 23rd, they march to Prague Castle, over 100 armed men storming the Bohemian Chancellery. What happens next isn't spontaneous mob violence. It's calculated political theater. They conduct a mock trial, find the regents guilty of violating the Letter of Majesty, and sentence them to defenestration. It's Prague's established tradition. This is actually the second defenestration in Prague history, the first occurring in 1419 during Hussite wars. Throwing officials out windows carries ritual significance here. It's lynching, mixed with political protest, mixed with theatrical statement. The message is clear. Protestant Bohemia rejects Habsburg Catholic authority. The survival of all 3 men creates immediate propaganda battles. Catholics distribute pamphlets showing the Virgin Mary and angels catching Martinic and Slavata mid-fall, gently lowering them to safety. It's divine intervention proving God favors Catholic righteousness. Ferdinand's secretary Philip Fabricius, who was also defenestrated, is later ennobled with the title Baron von Hohenfall, literally Baron of Highfall, celebrating his miraculous survival. Protestants counter with their own pamphlets depicting the 3 men landing face first in dung heaps. No angels, no miracles, just shit. Contemporary accounts confirm the castle moat contained refuse and manure. The rain-softened muck broke their fall. Both sides used the survival to claim God's endorsement. But nobody cares about divine interpretation. They care about what comes next: war. The Bohemian Revolt explodes immediately. Protestant nobles form a revolutionary government. They raise armies commanded by Thurn and Ruppe. Imperial troops respond. The conflict stays localized initially: Bohemia versus Habsburg forces. In March 1619, Emperor Matthias dies. Ferdinand II inherits the throne, becoming Holy Roman Emperor. The Bohemian estates refuse to recognize him. On May 27, 1619, they formally depose Ferdinand as King of Bohemia and elect Frederick V, Elector Palatine, a Calvinist prince married to the daughter of England's King James I. Frederick accepts, thinking Protestant Europe will rally to his cause. He's catastrophically wrong. Most Protestant princes stay neutral. Catholic forces mobilize. On November 8, 1620, just 2 years after the Defenestration, Ferdinand's Catholic League crushes the rebel Bohemian army at the Battle of White Mountain outside Prague. The battle lasts 2 hours. The Protestant forces disintegrate. Frederick flees to Holland. He's dubbed the Winter King for his brief reign. Ferdinand's revenge is methodical and brutal. 27 leaders of the Bohemian Revolt are publicly executed in Prague's Old Town Square on June 21, 1621. The executions last from 5 a.m. to 8 p.m., beheadings, hangings, quarterings. Their heads are displayed on the Charles Bridge for a decade. Ferdinand confiscates Protestant estates, redistributing wealth to loyal Catholics. He orders re-Catholicization of Bohemia. Protestant worship is banned. Clergy are expelled. Families convert or flee. Within a generation, Bohemia transforms from majority Protestant to overwhelmingly Catholic. The Bohemian Revolt is crushed. But the war doesn't end. It metastasizes. Protestant princes across Europe watch Bohemian suppression with alarm. If Ferdinand can destroy Protestant rights in Bohemia, despite sacred guarantees, what stops him elsewhere? Denmark intervenes in 1625 under King Christian IV, hoping to protect northern German Protestants. His invasion fails catastrophically. Sweden enters in 1630 under King Gustavus Adolphus, one of history's great military commanders. Swedish armies rampage across Germany, winning stunning victories until Gustavus dies at Lutzen in 1632. France, Catholic, but ruled by Cardinal Richelieu, who prioritizes French power over religious solidarity, joins against the Habsburgs in 1635. The war that began as Bohemian Protestant revolt against Catholic emperor becomes a continent-wide struggle involving Denmark, Sweden, France, Spain, the Dutch Republic, and countless German principalities. Religion becomes excuse for territorial ambition, dynastic rivalry, and political opportunism. The devastation defies comprehension. Armies live off the land, stripping regions bare. Famine follows occupation. Disease spreads through displaced populations. Contemporary estimates claim Germany's population drops from 21 million in 1618 to 13 million in 1648, a 38% decline. Some regions lose 2/3 of inhabitants. The Palatinate is devastated. Bohemia never recovers demographically. Württemberg, Bavaria, Brandenburg all suffer catastrophic losses. Modern historians debate whether 8 million died as contemporaries claimed, but even conservative estimates suggest 4 to 5 million casualties from violence, starvation, and plague. Jacques Callot's 1633 engravings, The Miseries of War, depict hanged bodies lining roads, soldiers pillaging villages, refugees fleeing burning towns. These aren't artistic exaggerations. They're documentary evidence. The war drags on for 30 years, 1618 to 1648, because nobody can win decisively and nobody will negotiate seriously until exhaustion forces peace. The Peace of Westphalia, signed in 1648, establishes revolutionary principles. It grants religious freedom, allowing Protestant and Catholic states to coexist. It enshrines state sovereignty. Rulers control their territories without outside interference. It effectively ends the Holy Roman Empire as functioning political entity, transforming it into a loose confederation. Most importantly, Westphalia establishes modern international relations based on sovereign equality rather than religious or dynastic hierarchy. The concept of nation-states emerges from Westphalia's treaties, but the cost was apocalyptic. Central Europe was devastated, depopulated, economically ruined for generations. The Defenestration of Prague remains one of history's most bizarre war triggers. 3 men thrown from a window, 70 feet, landing in manure, surviving, and Europe burns for 3 decades. 8 million dead because Protestants defenestrated Catholic officials who violated religious guarantees. The act was simultaneously deadly serious and darkly absurd. Ritual violence that followed Prague tradition while starting unprecedented catastrophe. Today the window still exists in Prague Castle. You can visit the Bohemian Chancellery and see where Martinic, Slavata, and Fabricius fell. A memorial plaque marks the spot below where they landed. Tourists photograph it. Few grasp its significance. That window opened onto 30 years of hell. A war began with defenestration. Europe bled for decades. And all because on May 23, 1618, Protestant nobles decided throwing people out windows was preferable to negotiation. The word defenestration entered English permanently. The violence it described shaped modern Europe. 1 window, 3 men, 30 years, 8 million dead. That's the legacy of the day Prague's Protestants threw patience and Catholic officials out the window.